goes up and it goes down, peaks and valleys. Each of those little valleys is going to be determined or I guess defined as a drawdown period. Now, I think the bad thing, Jason, is this, right? A lot of people look at drawdowns and they consider it to be a negative. And I would ask you this question: are drawdowns negatives, positives, normal? What is your kind of thought process on that?
A drawdown is kind of just part of the process, right? It's part of the process that you accept to get an end result. It's like anything in life. You're going to have positives and negatives to everything, right? So yeah, absolutely. I think, sorry.
No, go right ahead.
I think a lot of traders today who are going into trading don't even know or expect that there should be prolonged periods of losing. And I think that's one of the most common, I don't know, misconceptions or unknown truths. But, you know, you do have periods of losing trades. And I think when people come in with the mindset that they should only be winning money. I mean, I was talking to someone the other day and they went, oh, do you know what? Can't you? I'm just going to trade Forex instead of doing my job. I hate my job. And I said, well, you're probably not going to earn any money for like a few years trading Forex. You got to learn it. And they were like, what? I won't earn anything for like 2-3 years. And I was like, well, no, you've got to learn how to do it. And then you've got to like master the mindset and be able to be consistent. And they were like, oh God. and it's truly what people think. They think that it's just a winning game. And drawdowns are some of those things that also no educators or people telling you education are really talking about, because it doesn't sell. It doesn't say, look, come and work with me and we'll teach you how to handle losing periods. It's not the most sexy hook for a sales marketing campaign, but look, you've got to be aware that it's part of the journey. It is unavoidable, right?
Yeah, I mean, if we go back to kind of the centerpiece, the fundamental piece of everything is like trading is a business, and you should think of trading as any other business. And just like most businesses, like you don't start off running and making massive amounts of profit right away. You go through this little figuring it out type of period. And even when you do have a profitable business, right, think about what a business has, right? It has income, it has expenses, right? It's no different in trading, right? Now we can, classify expenses as other things, spreads, commissions, but part of those expenses are also drawdowns, right? It's the cost of doing business. If you want to capture profit and make all of what you make on those winning trades, you've got to be able and accept giving some back on your losing trades. And just like any business owner, right, we just want to make sure the balance is right? If our expenses start overshadowing our income, then we've got some red flags, right? So we want to make it where our income, our profitable trades are outshining our expenses.
Yeah.
And in the bigger picture, right, you have that nice smooth equity curve that doesn't just go straight up and straight down. It ebbs and flows, but that's how life goes. And so I think it goes back to that core principle of, there's so much junk being spread out there about trading, so many false expectations being laid out. And, people think it's this fairy tale or rainbows and unicorns, where it's just you come in and make money hand over fist. And because of that, drawdowns get labeled as a negative, where I would say that most, if not all, probably all professional traders look at drawdowns as just the cost of doing business. It's a natural part of the game. It's going to happen. It's going to happen for different lengths. It's going to happen for different times, but your job is to manage it. And I was always taught this, that, great traders are good traders are great risk managers. And I truly believe that the better you can handle those drawdowns, the better the trader you're going to be.
Totally. And I also think that it kind of reinforces the importance of never being too excited about winning streaks and never being too beat up about losing streaks. The more you are excited about a winning streak, well, you've got to face the opposite pole of that, right? So the more excited you are and you believe that it's like all fantasy land, the more you're going to get hurt in a drawdown. The more you kind of get depressed about a drawdown, you know, that's gonna have a damaging impact on your ability to consistently trade. But I do want to address like the elephant in the room with this whole topic, and that is this: if you're asking,
call me fat for a minute, man.
If you're asking this question, okay, when do we know we're in a drawdown? How to assess when we're in a drawdown? You probably shouldn't be trading just yet, or at least you shouldn't be trading live money, because if you've tested a system and you understand the fundamentals of trading, you'll know what a drawdown is. You don't want to wait till you're in the fight to ask, oh God, what do I do when this guy does a right hook? You know, it's like, that's too late. You know, it's too late. Get out of it until you know what you're doing a bit more. But then on the other hand, a real valid question, I guess, is how do we know when we're in a drawdown that is abnormal? You know, because as traders, we never really know what's going to happen next. That's why the only way that we're going to be elite traders is to prepare the mindset based on historical information. That's all we've got. That is all we've got. That's all we can do. So the more connected you are to the probabilities of what's going to happen next, the stronger your mindset's going to be. But we still don't know what's going to happen next. There could be, you know, at every time we go into some kind of deep drawdown, there's always a doubt that's like, is this broken now? Is this it for me? Is this the end? And that never goes. Like, honestly, it can't ever go. You just have to be on top of your edge and refining it and keep your eye on it and not experience death by 1,000 cuts one day when you wake up and you don't know what the hell's been going on for the last 6 months, but all of a sudden it's not profitable because you haven't kept your eye on it. So I guess a good question is like, yeah, what would you do if you thought it was abnormal? Like, at what point do you stop? What do you reckon?
It's a very good question and a very good point you bring up about drawdowns, because it's I won't say it's funny, but if you're someone that has joined us for all the coffee break, right, episodes, you're going to notice that there's a handful of common themes that every single answer to every single question that you have comes back to, whether it's trading like a business where it's like emotional discipline and self-control, whether it's back testing and stuff like that. And I love what you said about your first, like the drawdowns are hard because it seems like you're stuck in this tunnel or like you've jumped into the ocean and there's no bottom and you're sinking and you're reaching your toes and you never know where that bottom is. And it's you can't truly prepare yourself to experience a drawdown until you experience it. And we can tell you, because we've got so many years in the game, that after you go through your first big drawdown and after you make it through, after you see that, hey, there is a bottom to this floor and you can push off of it and you jump out the water to new equity highs, it does get easier. I don't think we'd ever say it's fun, but you kind of accept the torture a little bit more. But I think, I think having those back testing results are so powerful. And I spoke to a trader the other day, not to get too much off topic, but he said he loves what we're doing. He listens to the podcast, he watches the coffee break, and he was mentored by this guy. He got hired by this guy, I think run a live room or something. And him and everyone in this live room are trading, I guess, the same strategy, I guess, that the guy gave them, and they're all losing money. And he was asking the question, he's like, well, you know, how do I know if the system is broken? And I didn't get a response from him, yes, but I asked him this morning, I said, did you back test? Because you may not, the trading system in general may not be profitable to begin with. You may have been sold something that has a negative return and you're trading it, you're doing everything correct and you're losing money. So I think it goes back to the back testing, right? When you back test, you have all that historical data. And as you trade live, you continue to add to that data as well. It should give you a pretty solid idea of what is normal and what is abnormal, right? Yeah. So, I was on a 3-trade losing streak the other day, and no panic, right? Because 3 trades, that's completely normal. That's going to happen many times this year. But if you look through your historical data and whether you see a specific streak of trades, like a number or maybe a certain percentage of your return on investment, or I guess your account size that you lose, once you get out of that range, that's when it's really time to start digging into why this drawdown is happening. Is it I guess what we call a natural drawdown where you're doing everything right and the markets just suck with how you're trading? Or is it a self-inflicted drawdown? Are you doing stuff? Did you enter a trade you weren't supposed to take? Did you take a profit early? Did you move a stop back? Because those things are going to affect your equity curve. And if you're self-sabotaging, you could be in a situation where, you could have dug yourself out of a drawdown, but you didn't because you were making mistakes. And now you're just right at break even or still a little bit in a drawdown. So we need to address those as well.
Yeah, I feel like a scratch record when I say this, but I always say, like, there's so much that comes out of backtesting a system. Like Orsi just said in the chat, when you pass your maximum allowable drawdown, that's when you know you're in when it's broken or there's time to review. You don't really know that unless you've tested a system. But when you are testing a system, a massive benefit to it and a real important part of it is to kind of lower your expectations of the system. Try and find the losers, because if you start performing worse than your tested results, that's going to have a damaging effect on you. If you start performing better than your back tested results, okay, that's not quite normal, but you can deal with that easier, trust me. So the whole point is you should lower your expectations, really go through the system and put it, go through it in anger, really put it through its paces. And it's going to serve you. It's going to serve you. It's a great thing to do. Someone in the chat, Tradecraft says, "Hey fellas, just completed a back test of 1,000 trades per currency, total of 12,000 trades tested going back to 2014. Each pair tested. Currently working on executing a small account." That sounds like you're going into trading with a very poised and professional approach. Well done. Keep us up to date on your progress, please. We love to hear these stories.
You know what? Speaking of, I love the fact because we preach this message before where we say, when you're making the transition of learning to trade, the strategy development to back testing to demo trading and live trading, that you should treat yourself like a prop firm. By the way, congrats, Jason. The other day, Jason got reached out. Another trader funded it, which is pretty cool. I love seeing those stories. Dude, that is, I wish we would have been tracking this when we first started, because I remember so many names that we had, and we just didn't track it because we were so focused on just teaching. But
I know we've had so many traders funded and passing challenges. The amount of emails that we get, it's just so inspiring to read those and those messages.
I love it. But I love the fact that this trader said that, hey, I'm currently working on executing a small account, because I think that's important, right? We know that, going back to emotions, right? One of the biggest emotional triggers out there is money, right? You got, you got politics, you got religion, you got money. There's probably some other stuff now that social media is so big that, you can get in trouble for, but money is a big emotional trigger. So think about it like this. When you first get into trading, you're probably going to be at your worst, right? You are probably the worst you will be when you first start, and then you progressively get better as you gain experience, the knowledge, and all that fun stuff. So why would you want to have the most at risk when you're at, the worst part of your trading? So I like that, because if you start with a large account and you're making mistakes like most new traders do, you're hitting those drawdowns. Those drawdowns are costing you more money. There's a bigger emotional pull off of that, which puts you into one of those spirals more quickly. But if you start with a small account, like this trader said, right, you may be in a drawdown, but the monetary effect of that drawdown on you may not be as big, right? The ego may take a hit because you're losing trades, but you're like, oh, I lost like $100, right? The pull isn't as strong. You don't go into as much of a panic mode. So I really like the idea of start with a small account, then like a prop firm, once you've proven, right, and you can do the trade grade scale like you do, where you grade yourself in each trade and whatnot. And as you improve, then give yourself access to more money. And when you have more money, you're less likely to make mistakes. And then you're more accustomed to handling those drawdowns. It's not as big of a shock when you first get it. So I love tradecraft. That's like you said, that's poised and professional. That's exactly what we want to see.
Yeah. Excellent. Well done. Keep us up to date with that. And some really good points. Also says amazing. It gives you so much confidence. Yeah. And this is the thing I don't really get. I know this kind of about drawdowns, but the best way to know if you're in a drawdown is one, the obvious, that basically you're going to be mostly in a drawdown, because when you have a winning streak and you hit when your account balance goes up from every minute on, you're in a drawdown, basically.
Exactly.
That's it. From every single minute from that one trade where you went over, you're in a drawdown, because it means you're not earning any more money. That's all it means. And for as long as that goes on, that's how long you're in a drawdown for. That's it. All right. The most important thing about being in a drawdown, because that's not the end of the world, right? You might just stop trading and go, oh, okay, great. I've got I've got 10 grand more today. Great, perfect. I'm going to stop trading. Great. That's a great drawdown, because you're never going to lose any more money, right? Because you stopped trading. So that's not an important thing. Knowing you're in a drawdown isn't the important thing. The important thing is, how long is this likely to last? And where do I allow it to go down if I continue to trade before I have to start to worry? And you only get that from testing. That's it. Or you have this figure just plucked out of thin air in your head that you go, if I lose 10% more of my account, then I'm going to stop trading. But what's the point in doing that? You might as well know what it's likely to dip down to, so that you can then continue to trade and not try and find another system or stop trading, and miss trades and under trade like we were speaking about last week. So I know it's about drawdowns, but it really is correlated. Everything seems to go back to backtesting a system, because it gives you all the answers that you could possibly need in order to trade a system consistently. And look, tell me if you think I'm wrong, because I've yet for anyone to argue that point and give me a valid answer or a valid reason. I'm open to it.
Dude, I'm the same way. I don't get into that argument as much anymore, because I just stopped arguing with people. But it's like, people that hate backtesting, the only argument that makes sense when they give it to me is like, they don't want to invest the time doing it. Like that's the only thing. Like, I don't like, what is the negative? Like what? Like there's what? Like when? Like what is the negative of having more information? When is it bad to have more information?
That's
it. Like I don't. But Jason, the historical results don't tell you anything about the future. Well, nothing tells you about the future.
I know.
Like what? Like what?
I know.
Like what? So wouldn't you rather have more knowledge about the past, especially in the financial markets, where the past basically just redoes itself over and over again? Like it bothers me so much. It bothers me because there's no answer, and people like, and I'm like you. I have yet to have an answer that makes sense.
There's no answer. There's
people fight tooth and nail for it.
That is the question, isn't it? Why wouldn't you? That's what I always. Why wouldn't you? What's the downside? And obviously, it only boils down to time. It's like when people say, "Oh, I need to sort out my finances," and I say, "Are you saving money?" And they're like, "Well, I don't save money. No, I've heard that saving's bad." And I'm like, well, what's the risk? At worst, you're going to end up with the money in your account. Like there's no risk. So yeah, I don't get it.
You got to spend it right away, man, because it if you don't spend it right away, something happens.
Saving's better than not saving. Put it that way. Otherwise, anyway. So we got some comments here. True backtesting is fundamental, as well as demo trading to work out any further kinks. Great point. 100 rules are 100% objective and very visual. So it took me around 1 month of 12 to 14 hours a day. Every day was taxing. Got sick because I wasn't sleeping enough. Even had a finger injury from all of the clicking. Finger injury. Wow, man. You've got like trader's arthritis.
I've been there.
But yeah, I know it will pay off. I know it will pay off for you. I hate backtesting. So do I. It's not the best thing. But I think you like it for especially for me, I do testing at Christmas, and for me, it's a little bit nostalgic when I start doing it. It brings back like good memories of when I was like really, grinding. And we often say that you look back and smile one day about certain things, right? And it's always the hard times that you look back and think, oh, that's cool. And you have the kind of nostalgic feeling. for about 2 minutes. And then I'm like, oh God, I hate doing this stuff. You know?
I tell you what I like. I'm like you. I love getting back to the grind because we're always grinding, but it's different than before we were successful. Like we were kind of like the trader there where it's like, man, 10, 12 hours a day, like wife taking pictures of us passed out on the couch and stuff like that. I love the beginning of back testing. I love the end of back testing. The middle sucks, man. Like I like the beginning because I'm all excited, like new strategy, new numbers. Let's see how this thing goes. And then the middle is just like,
it's just blur.
But in the end, it's like I get to crunch these numbers soon and see like what the final result is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a love-hate relationship, but it's cool to see it pay off, man.
Yeah.
And
it's just like really one of those things.
Rewarded.
It's like when I did when I did the body transformation thing last year, it's when you do that stuff, it's just consistency, isn't it? And there's a period of time where you just don't see results. You just have to trust the process, and you just keep going and going and going, and then it just goes whoop, like compound effect. It's like boom.
Well, yeah, and same thing with that. Like I bet there was a period of time where at first you started dropping weight or whatnot right away. And then you kind of just either steadied out or maybe you gained a little bit, muscle mass came in. It's like, that's the same thing as a drawdown. It's a good example of life where it's even like with weight loss. Like if anyone's tried to lose weight, like a healthy way, you just don't drop tons of pounds right away. You do this little, like you drop a little and then you're up a pound and you're down 2, then you're up 2. But it's that same ebb and flow. And like, that's just how life is. In every aspect of life, if you can just accept that there are going to be ups and downs, and as long as your extensions, your ups are outweighing your downs, and you're on the right path. Like,
totally.
Life isn't simple. It doesn't go straight up. Like for no one. There are rough periods. Like deal with it. I think just do it.
I think that's a great message and a great kind of rounding off message. And when you do it the healthy way, what healthy is sustainable, something you can maintain because you want to consistently generate profits. You don't want to just get a lucky win. You don't want to do something that's going to go against your personality or your lifestyle. You want to develop something that is sustainable and easy for you, or as easiest for you as a person to trade. And that's how you develop your trading system. You don't go and do the fad diet. You don't go and chase the keto thing or the whatever it is on the shelf. You just pick something that suits you and resonates with you, and then you develop it, and then it's just a case of riding that out for ages and ages and ages, and that's it. So. Cool. We've had a lot of engagement in the chat this week. Yeah. Appreciate you guys. If you got value from this, make sure you subscribe to the channel and share this video with other people as well. If you know people are getting into trading, and you can also check out our personal channels in the description as well. And I think we're going to be back next week for a coffee, and we're going to be talking about, what did we say? We said,
was it over trading? No, that was
post-market analysis.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be that's important. Another one that's barely talked about.
Yeah, post-market and pre-market analysis, what it does for you, how to do it, and we're going to be talking about that. So tune in next week, smash the like button, and until then, guys, take care, have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you then.
Thanks for joining us for the Trader Coffee Break. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to never miss a live discussion. Follow our hosts on social media. And remember, do nothing to gain perspective on everything. See you next week.